This conference will now be recorded.
Ready? You guys ready?
Yep.
Alex, you ready?
Here's Melissa.
Good evening. Clerk, please start the recording. Today is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, and I'd like to call tonight's City Council meeting to order. If we can all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know.
You lost patience. All right. Clerk, can we please have roll call? Can you guys hear us out there? All right.
Councilmember Fox,
Present.
Councilmember Kasberg,
Here.
Councilmember Boyle,
He was going to try to call in, but he had to work overtime. So absent and excused.
Councilmember Leija,
Here.
Councilmember Cerveny,
Present.
Mayor Strobin.
Here. Thank you, Clerk. Clerk, can we please call up any public comments from the audience?
Al Filla,
Alfella, 36016 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. Okay, as we all know, Memorial Day is coming up, May 26th. American Legion Post 189 will hold a ceremony at 11 o'clock at the Center Cemetery. If you've never been there, I guess the main point of interest in the cemetery is a memorial to World War I. Well, I guess the Gold Star people who died in World War I who were from La Center. And this is what it says. In honor of the boys of La Center and vicinity who sacrificed their lives during 1917 to 1918, the World War, which tells me this was done before World War II. That thing used to sit right out here on 4th Street, just across the street, until, they had a stop sign there on 4th at one time, but they moved that out in the 70s. But when they widened the road in the early 90s, they moved it up to the cemetery. I'd like to read off the names of those individuals who are named there. Harry Potter, United States Army. McKinley Moe, you might be familiar with Moe Road, United States Army. Angus Nicholson, he was killed in November of 1918. So more than likely, his people back here knew the war was over, but that he wasn't coming back. They didn't know. George Myers, David Thornquist, Samuel Tenhold, all United States Army. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, Al.
Carmen DeLeon.
Hello? Okay, Carmen De Leon, and I go by Mello. Yeah, the only reason I ever showed up here was because I was threatened with arrest from the city of Vancouver just for doing what you're doing, which is doing your civic duty, talking to your, city council. So I had to go to all the other cities to say, is it okay? And I realized, yeah, Camas is cool, Ridgefield is cool, everybody's cool. It's the city of Vancouver that's psychotic. Okay, that's fine. So I did some research, and then I see that they want to put all of Clark County on the hook for $2 billion. And that's just crazy because they shouldn't have a say on all of Clark County because, they need $2 billion for that stupid light rail. So I said, okay, a better way of moving people is we take it from OHSU, which they have the tram system, which if you know OHSU, you park down here, you ride the little tram, you go up there and you work in the hospital. I think 400 people, and they pay 300 something a year, which is about $1 a day, $1.50 a day to ride that tram, that beautiful ride up the hill and go to work. So I said, okay, if they're going to dead end it at the expo center, the light rail, we can get our own tram that will cross over into Vancouver, thereby leaving the river alone with more holes that they want to make for another train system when they already have one in Vancouver. And so have the tram system come all the way out here, and you offer in direct competition with the Space Needle, the perfect view of riding the tram across the Columbia River, looking at the sunrise over Mount Hood and Mount St. Helens, and how beautiful can you imagine? And then in the evening, watch the sunset go over a different state descending. Where else in the world can you see something like that for a fraction of the cost of a light rail system, which has the potential, like I said, of 1 million tourist visitors a year, which is what the Space Needle gets. So even if you got half that, or, because it takes a while to build up a reputation, but to have a tram that, goes from Expo Center to Ridgefield, to bring in tourism and to get people that are working here into Portland. Because with the tolls, they've already estimated $400 a month. It's a whole nother payment. It's it's probably some people's whole paycheck if you're weekly. So, I'm just saying there's other ways to get around the light rail thing, which is to me a waste of money, and to bring in tourism without destroying the land. If anything, making money off the land and the beautiful 5,000 acres they said that couldn't be clear cut. Okay, let's enjoy that. Let's make money off it by not, bulldozing it, but enjoying the scenery like an eagle, looking at it from above, the sky above. How beautiful can you imagine on the 4th of July? Oh, wow. To see all the fireworks from the sky. I'm just saying, it's tourists. Bring them in.
Thank you.
There's no more cards from the audience.
Okay. Thank you, Clerk. For those calling in, please press *6 to unmute yourself. State your name and address for the record. Kimberly, you out there?
Good evening, Kimberly Goheen Elbin. So I have an issue with the presentation that is on the April 23rd minutes pertaining to the work sessions 1.3.1 presentation of a draft code and comp plan update on development, in particular Timmins Landing area across the river. There must be an assembly of all of the La Center citizens. I do not think that there has been an adequate assembly of the people to really understand where we're coming from, especially from those that might have moved here within the last 5 years and beyond, you know, up to 10 years even. So I spoke today at the Clark County Council meeting as to our depleting essential resources, and I'm calling for a growth stop over Clark County so we can learn how to sustain those resources that we have. So, and maintain current jobs, get our schools in order, putting parents and children first, getting to know the people that have moved here, and maintaining our country-like heritage of a small town feel, and actually have public gardens, teaching our youth sustainability as to where food comes from and how worms and insects and bees are essential to life. Education as to where our drinking water comes from, the health of our water wells here in Clark County, educating the public on water usage and how that usage eventually leads to the sewer system. Sustaining clean air is essential. And so I'm talking about all of Clark County resources that we need to take a look at. But also would know, how would people know to question human climate engineering, where humans are spraying toxic chemicals in the atmosphere to ward off the heat of the sun, but in turn those nanotoxic particles over the years have been inhaled, I might add, and has gathered in our trees with layers of toxic flammable particles that ignite much quicker, like a natural fire starter. I attribute these toxic particles also to one cause of hoof rot. Development, or what I now call overpopulation pollution, must stop for a period of time to look at our farmlands, our water, our air, and all resources as we learn and look through a lens of gaining knowledge as to what we humans at a rapid rate have done to our only home, the earth. And I do say to God, I am so sorry. Speaking on water, well, I will end with what is actually really on my heart after the tour with the sewer system. God help us to figure out a way.
Thank you. If there are any other callers, please press *6 to unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Clerk, are there other callers? Okay. Clerk, are there any comments to be read?
There are no comments to be read.
Thank you. Move on to the consent agenda. There are no requests for any items to be removed. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Abstain. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, council. So that's 3. We do have a presentation tonight. This would be the Clark County Assessor's Office on property tax exemption. Ms. Holly Hill will be presenting. Holly, would you like to step up? Thank you.
Right. Hello. Right. Hi, my name is Holly Hill. I am the Program Outreach Coordinator from the Clark County Assessor's Office, and I help administer the Property Tax Exemption Program for seniors and persons with disabilities. So today we're going to talk about an overview of the program, the qualifications and eligibility, the income thresholds, talk about what income means for our program, talk about what deductions that we accept to help lower your income, talk about what required documents we like to see with your application, give a new legislative update, talk about how to apply, and an outreach we have coming up here in the center, and then conclusion and contact. So this is a Washington state program. It is administered by each county assessor's office in Washington. We get guidance from the Department of Revenue, but rules are set by the state legislature. The purpose of this program is to reduce property tax liability for those on a limited income, most commonly our seniors and our persons with disabilities. How it works is it freezes the assessed value of the home and the land in the year that you qualify. It exempts taxpayers from paying any excess voted levies, state school taxes Part 2, and special assessments. And it's also possible to reduce the taxable value of the property based on your income. There is no obligation for repayment once you're on the program. It does not put a lien on your property, and applications are renewed at a maximum every 6 years. So to qualify for the program, you have to meet all the qualifications of the last day of the year prior to the year of the tax year. So that's a little complicated, but for this year, you would need to meet all the qualifications by December 31st, 2024 to qualify for tax relief for this year. You have to own your home, reside in your home as your primary residence for at least 6 months. So if you're purchasing your house in 2024, you'd have wanted to move in by June to qualify for this year's tax relief. You have to qualify either based on age, which is 61 years of age or older, or by disability status. You can be deemed disabled by the VA, 80% or greater, Social Security, or your doctor. We do have a form to fill out if you are getting verification from your doctor. So if you are going that route, then just contact our office for that form. The income threshold for the program is $62,000, and we break that down into 3 different income thresholds. So tiers 1 and 2, you're exempt from paying property tax on a portion of your assessed value. And in all tiers, your home and land value are frozen in the year that you qualify. You're exempt from those excess or voter approved levies and the state school taxes Part 2. And the $62,000 income threshold is not just an arbitrary number. It used to be about $40,000 flat for all counties in Washington. And a few years ago, the legislature kind of revamped it so that it was in accordance with 70% of the median income for the county. All right, so what counts as income? It's going to be all your typical sources of income. The most common ones we see are going to be Social Security, wages, pensions, annuities, things like that. Basically, if you file your taxes, we want to see all forms of income that you show on your tax return. We don't count, but we still want to see documentation for your VA disability payments, any DSHS payments, any federal stimulus payments like the ones we got in 2020 and 2021, any IRA rollovers, and any reverse mortgages. We still do want to see documentation to support the exclusion of the income as well. And we also allow deductions. These are really come in handy when you're either at risk of going over the $62,000 income threshold, or if you're between 2 income tiers and we think we can get you into a lower one to get better savings. So it's basically anything you've paid out of pocket to your health insurance the year prior, you can bring us documentation for that and we can put it towards your income and help lower your income. So we give you an automatic $500 prescription deduction. If you pay over that in the year, we want to see proof of that documentation. We deduct all Medicare premiums. So if you collect Social Security, we take out the Medicare parts that show on there. If you are if you or a family member is in a nursing or adult family home, we can deduct those expenses. If you got hearing aids, glasses, walkers, kind of mobility enhancing equipment, we can deduct those expenses. We have a really, really big long list, and I won't sit here all day reading them to you. But if you're not sure and you want to apply and get the full list of deductions, then definitely contact our office for that. With required documents, these are set up to tick off a box of the eligibility. So we want to see your driver's license to verify your address, make sure you're a resident in Clark County, and verify your age. If you're not qualifying by age, then we want to see your disability award letter. And if you don't have a driver's license, then we'd want to see a secondary form of ID like a voter's registration card, birth certificate, something like that. If you file your taxes, we would like to see the complete tax return, including all the schedules. And if you don't file your taxes, we want to see all the other 1099s or forms that they do send you for your income. And if you don't have any of those forms, we will also take bank statements, but contact our office for some caveats with that as well. If applicable, we do run into a few different ownership situations, such as if an owner is deceased, we'd like to see the death certificate for that. If you have been a divorce, and we would like to see the divorce decree to see who was awarded the home. And most commonly, we do see properties in trust. A lot of our senior populations are putting homes in trust. Those do qualify for the program, but we do want to see a copy of the entire trust so that our representatives can go through it and make sure it has the correct verbiage to keep you qualified for the program. All right, and a new legislative update. So prior to this year, we were not able to accept ADUs into the program. This could be something like a tiny home, an above garage apartment, a hardship mobile. Typically, those were just a non-qualified outbuilding. This year and going forward, we can accept those with a few different caveats. So we are still learning the rules, as is the Department of Revenue. But if you do have a previously non-qualifying outbuilding and you want to add that to your exemption, then please contact our office and we can make that adjustment for you. How to apply. So we have a lot of different ways to apply. When the pandemic first hit in 2020, our assessor, Peter Van Nortwick, had a really good idea, which was to open up an online portal so that somebody with kids in Washington, or whose kids are in Arizona and they live in Washington, their kids can help them apply online, help them get all their documentation uploaded. And that has been really helpful going forward. We also have our office hours, which are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Thursday at the Public Service Center downtown. We take appointments and walk-ins, or if you don't want to see anyone, we have a drop box on the first floor, or you can mail or email us your documentation. And coming up, we also have an outreach event here in La Center. That's going to be on Friday, May 30th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be here at City Hall. So we also take appointments or walk-ins for that, and call us if you need any more information about that. All right, thank you so much. Any questions?
I just had a question on the income. Is that combined or just per individual?
It's for the household.
The whole household.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I
So anybody in ownership, I will be more specific.
Oh,
So
on the title.
Mhm.
Okay.
So usually it's like a husband and a wife or a single party, but sometimes we see people adding their children on. That will split the
Oh,
exemption a little
sure.
bit because they will not have met the qualifications, nor do they live in the home typically.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Holly, how do you guys get the message out there?
So I'm the outreach coordinator, and I am going around to all these jurisdictions in the county and doing these presentations and getting all the city councils in the loop. We do press releases, we have social media, we go out to as many city events that we can, connect with as many people in all the jurisdictions that we can. But I would say really word of mouth is the best way that this program is getting out. Like, you know, I can shout from a rooftop all day, but somebody tells their neighbor about it and that, you know, catches on a lot quicker. So it's really these community partnerships that help get the word out the most.
So out of the 500,000 or so residents in Clark County, how many are actually utilizing the program?
I would say about 16,000 could currently qualify, and I think we have about 8,900 to 9,000 currently on.
All right. Good. That's great to hear,
Yeah,
actually.
wonderful.
Yeah.
My
Thank
mom
you.
did it here just this last year after my dad passed away.
Right.
And she's not real good about following processes and things like that. So you guys helped her out and she's been very, very happy. So
Good. I'm really happy to hear that.
That's great to hear. Thank you,
Awesome.
Holly. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions for Holly? All right.
I'm
Thanks,
guessing, are we
Holly.
going to put a social media bug on ours for this? I mean, put a little.
Yeah, we could do that, right?
Yeah, I
That'd be
think we
good.
should.
If we can
I
let
have
Hannah know.
connected with Hannah.
Yeah,
so-
perfect. I was going to say, yeah, you
Oh,
connect with Hannah.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. All right. Very informative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super important.
Okay, we do have council staff reports. Tonight, we have a real estate transaction. Is that going to be Tony or Brian? Oh, Pete.
Well, Tracy recruited me. So,
Okay, there we go.
so I'm reading Tracy's staff report into the record. The City of La Center has identified opportunities in the capital planning and implementation of the park plan for extending its parks. This includes buying land for new parks to fill gaps and providing more community events. The existing inventory for parks right now is 23.5 acres, and the future need for 2045 is 34.9 acres. The city has been approached to ask if we would like to purchase a piece of land that would fit within the park plan capital planning. Budget impact. The budget to purchase this land would not exceed the appraised value of land. The not to exceed price for the land purchase would be $675,000 or the appraised value, whichever is less. Staff has a recommendation that City Council authorize negotiations for a land purchase not to exceed the $675,000. We're hoping to solicit a motion from City Council tonight to authorize the mayor to negotiate and enter into a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of real property in an amount not to exceed $675,000.
All right, thank you, Peter. Council, any questions to Peter?
well, not specifically for Peter, but you know, Tracy does a great job with everything that she's done here so far. But what I'd really like to see when these staff reports are written is a reminder for everybody so that the audience knows and the public knows where these funds are coming from, and the fact that that $675,000 is available, and that money cannot be spent on anything else but parks. And that's something that, and I don't know if Tracy's listening. I apologize for bringing this up in a meeting, but I think it's important, and that tends to get left out on staff reports. So sorry, Tracy.
I have to
Wherever
agree with
you're
you, Counselor. I definitely agree with you. So I do apologize. Yes, that's definitely something that we will add to it from here on out. And you're aware of the dollars. Do you guys recall any of that conversation? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is as important, but maybe because the public has access to this before our meetings, like putting in maybe like that we've already met on this with executive session.
Executive session, yeah.
Yeah, because I think if people read that, they're like, what? They're just bringing this up, and they don't know that we've had executive sessions, that we've already talked about this. So I don't know if that would also be another.
We can definitely entertain that and put that in there. When we do an executive session, there is an announcement of what we're going to speak about. So if it's going to be real estate, or if it's going to be employees or union negotiations and anything like that, that is announced.
Right,
So,
but we also have a couple going on right now.
We do.
Yeah, so that's why I mean, just kind of keeping them, so people can feel organized with it too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And earlier in the year, I think Riley did a great job of breaking down the budget into a more understandable and separating out those funds that hasn't always been done before. So that's kind of where I became a lot more comfortable with proposals like these coming up, is after reviewing that particular presentation. So
right. Well, you get to see where which buckets are being touched and where it's coming from. Yeah. No, I understand. I completely agree with council on that. We will make sure we do better, and we'll have those numbers set up for you on the next one.
Because this isn't just for us. Yeah. Because everybody else reads it too.
Right.
That's just my thought. Yeah.
And there'll be more information that's released if the negotiation is successful. That goes out to the public at that point.
So, Mayor, I move to authorize the mayor to negotiate and enter into a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of real property in an amount not to exceed $675,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Janina, are you on the call or on the line? Is she on there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Should we be doing a roll call on this type of a motion?
It is not required.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against or opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, Janine. And just for public notice, there will be more information coming out about the real estate transaction if it becomes successful. We're not hiding anything from anybody, but just for protection of the city when it's going into an investment, we have to keep it limited so somebody doesn't go in and actually purchase it out from underneath of us and hold it ransom. All right. Thank you, council. Next up is the mayor's report. So I had some exciting news to share with you in the city. So we had House Bill 1039. This allows us to service the tribe, which is outside of our urban growth boundary with wastewater. With wastewater is really what we targeted. I went up to, did I tell you guys all this yet? I didn't tell everybody, I don't think yet. So I went up and I testified in front of the House of Representatives, and then I did it in front of the Senate. Then after that, they had a vote to move it out. It moved out of committee. It made it to the floor. The House voted it at, I believe, 96-0. Then it moved to the Senate. The Senate voted it at a 48-0. And then it was amended to actually reflect that the law would be for the entire state, not just for the city of La Center and the Cowlitz Indian tribe. So yeah, I feel really proud. Our little town just passed a law that actually affected the entire state of Washington in a very good and common sense way. We are now able to service the tribe with the wastewater, with the $5 million pipe that they paid for. It can finally get some use. It was quite the experience. So yesterday I was with the governor, getting a pen and signing the law into effect, and with the tribe as well next to us. It was a very surreal moment. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It was still an honor to stand up there and do the signing. I will have to say I'm a little disappointed in the pens they give you. I didn't bring one in because I thought, what is this? You know, you think you're going to get a pen that's like something you could frame on the wall, and you're like, oh, look at this pen. It's just gorgeous. And yeah, no, it was a felt tip pen. Yeah, it was basically a Bic that had his name on it, and that was it. And I thought, all right, well, I'm gonna give them to my boys. So that part was the only disappointment of the day, but it was definitely something to be proud of. We can actually move on with the wastewater and the service to the tribe. So, all right, and I just want to thank everybody that was involved in that, because it was a lot of work. Our lobbyist, Hannah, and James, the tribe's lobbyist, Chairman IL, and myself, we pushed, and it took us the last 3 months. I don't think I've really brought it up to you guys because I didn't want the city to get their hopes up that we were going to make something viable work until it was done, and I wanted to make sure that ink was dried on the paper. So it was done. So I thank everybody that's been involved and for your patience, and we did it. It's great.
Well done, Mayor.
Well done.
It's a lot of work.
I bet.
Yeah. There is another piece to that that I'd love to share with you guys, but I'm going to keep you in suspense because Hannah's going to present on the 26th, our next council meeting, to tell you guys some of the stuff that we've achieved in this year's session. So
I think you meant the 28th, but
or 28th,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Sorry,
I just wanted
don't know why
to.
the 26th is like sticking in my head.
It's Memorial Day. That's why.
Is that what it is? All right.
All is good.
All right. So with that, I will turn it over to the attorney. Janine?
Well, hello again. I do not have anything to report. I'm very, very pleased with the wastewater legislation, and I am also really pleased with the other items that are on your agenda later on this meeting. We've done a lot of work on the 1.8 items that are coming to you as a package, and it's kind of nice to see them getting close to the finish line.
Janine, I'm going to interrupt you. I almost forgot to thank you on that as well, because you put a lot of time into doing some research on the back of that, the deal with the tribe and the sewer line. So I apologize. I thank you for your effort and participation in this event as well.
You're very welcome.
Okay, I'm sorry. Any questions for Janine? No? All right, Janine, thank you. Appreciate it as always. Okay, next up, council comments. Councilmember Fox.
Hi, good evening. Glad to see everybody here. I'm excited for a nice spring and a good summer. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of momentum going on here. Congratulations, Mayor, and everybody who worked on that. That's very exciting. So that's it's going to help out the city of La Center for infinity future. So I don't see there ever being a stop to that. So that's really exciting. I think the relationship's just going to get stronger and stronger. And that's really exciting, especially as we have a lot of development going on up at the freeway, and just working with them to create a nice travel experience for people to come and stop by and spend their money and give us their tax dollars and hopefully leave and get back on the freeway. Well, of course, people that want to come down here and live and buy a home, yes, but up there, just keep it fun. So don't have much else to say other than love this town, love to be here, and thank you for coming.
Oh, Melissa, we're going to miss you. That's for sure. Councilmember Kasberg.
Thank you. It's hard to follow that, but that's okay. I'm not even going to try. Yeah, I want to say thanks again to the folks from the county. I think that program is very important. I hope the event is well attended, and I'll do my part to tell the people in my neighborhood that I know might qualify for that. Like I said, my mom did it, and it was a huge relief for her, and it wasn't difficult. So that's very helpful. Thank you. What else was I going to say? I don't know. I think that's it. I'll probably just start complaining, so I don't want to do that. Yes.
Hey, Mello, Kimberly here. This is my landline. Yeah,
The Councilmember Boyle is out, so Councilmember Leija.
Good evening. The end of April, the Greater Vancouver Chamber put on a National Civics Bee, and this is the second year in a row I've attended that. And it's so neat to see these 6th and 7th graders get up and answer these civic questions. I didn't know the answer to some of them. Anyway, so we had a first place winner. Her name was Cerveny Andre. I probably butchered her name. Sorry. The second place winner was Rai Dilly, and he goes to Tukes Valley Middle School and Battleground. And there were several kids that from Battleground that went to the Civics Bee. And the third winner was a girl from a 6th grader that lives in Lyle that is a homeschool student. And so she came in third. So the first place got $500 and a laptop. Second place got $250 and a laptop. Third place got $125 and a laptop. And they get to go to Olympia and be in another Civics Bee. And whoever wins from there goes on up to Washington, D.C. So very, very cool to see these kids studying civics. Second of all is the City of La Center put on a tour of the water waste treatment plant, April 30th, and then also today. And so I did go to that, and our Public Works wastewater utility collection system treats 3 million gallons of wastewater in the center community and has been recognized for its innovative design and advanced treatment technology. We're a Class A facility. So I think that's pretty cool. And last Friday, I attended the 2025 legislative wrap-up at the Hilton. And there was a nice crowd. Several representatives and senators from each of the legislative district 49, 17, 18, and 20. For the 20th, which is where we're at, Senator Braun was there, Peter Abarno, and Ed Orcutt. And it was really interesting to see all their different presentations of some of the legislation that passed. And since I'm a retired corrections deputy, I was very excited to hear that Stephanie McClintock from Legislative District 18 worked on getting $1.5 million for the jail. And they do need it for sure. I can attest to that. So I was very happy to hear that. And I think there's one more thing. Oh, yes. I can't forget this. The Center High School Jazz Band, April 26, came in 2nd place in Division 3, which consists of schools of 400 to 999, and the center is 550. So they're kind of at the bottom of that range. And they actually came in 3rd from, let's see, the school that beat La Center was the 3rd jazz band from Grant High School, a 6A largest size in Oregon school. So I think that's pretty amazing that La Center did so well. So that's kind of my update for this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Cerveny.
Thank you. We've got graduation coming up here. Boy, what the year's flown by. We've got 26 applications that we're reviewing. So coming out and support the senior graduation and wish them the best on their next adventure. We've got some great students that are taking those next steps, and let's show them how proud we are of each and every one of them, and as they go on to do their future passions. Thanks.
I do have to add to that, Counselor. I hopefully people go out to see that because it's actually a really neat event. It's something special. Just to watch the kids out there in the audience and be chosen, and yeah, it's definitely something to be a part of. So I encourage anybody in the public to attend it. It's definitely worth your time. it'll put a smile on your face and a warming in your heart.
Yeah. Takes you back to that time when you graduated and all the hopes that you had for yourself. And
I don't
Oh,
remember that. That was
you
so
don't-
many years ago.
Come on.
I knew that would get Al going out there. All right. So next up, we do have some ordinances coming at us here. We are moving one around. We're going to do the 1.83 first tonight. So as you see a familiar face on the dais up here that you probably haven't seen in what, almost a year? Almost a year. We have Mr. Brian Kasberg tonight presenting. He's been working very hard on a few of these. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Tears, huh?
Lots of tears.
Oh,
Blood,
goodness.
sweat, and tears. Brian, it's good to see you back.
We don't have to pay for those, do we?
So-
Just kidding.
Well, thank you, Mr.
That's a
Mayor.
good point. I'm going to have to negotiate that one.
Yeah.
Tier
So
fee.
we have the developers agreement with Minit Management. Mr. Brian Cass will be presenting. Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. It's good to be back here in front of you in person. This agreement with Minit Management has been in the works for well over a year at this point. And it started out as a conversation with them about the potential to work with them to place a city sign out at the junction, which is something that the city's been working on far before I even started with the city. So that's been several years in the works. So the original conversation was working together with the Minit Management folks to have them put up a business complex sign for their businesses that they're building out there as part of their development, and then also a separate sort of complementary sign that matches the style that would be the city sign that has an electronic reader board, and we can use to put out messages about council meetings, or if there's, one of the examples that came up was, when we had the fires and evacuation notices, but any message that the public needs, as well as welcoming people and kind of getting them to come down into downtown here. As the conversation progressed, there also became a discussion of exchange of about 350 square feet of right-of-way. The right-of-way for La Center Road in the vicinity of the project kind of does a little jog, and there's a piece that the city didn't really need that would benefit them for putting a sign for the Shell station. And then in exchange, there was a piece of right-of-way that would help for the future roundabout that's in development out there that they would dedicate. So we kind of came up with this swapping of about 350 square feet of right-of-way. And then the last piece of this would be an amendment to the sign code. Currently, well, I guess we'll discuss that here in a minute, but basically the sign code needed some massaging to allow sort of this sign concept that was discussed. So this was all packaged up, brought together into this development agreement, and now is before council for consideration this evening. As a development agreement, this needs to be consistent with the city's goals and policies in the comprehensive plan. We've reviewed the comprehensive plan, and this is consistent with all of our policies in the comprehensive plan. But ultimately, the city council has the discretion to approve or deny this agreement. So with that, happy to answer any questions. I guess I skipped the budget piece here. So the upshot of the city sign is the city is going to be purchasing about 400 square feet of right-of-way to place the city sign in. That way it's in right-of-way and it's in the city's control, no matter what happens with future ownership of the parcels. So we will be purchasing about 400 square feet at the appraised value, which has been established at $14,000. The other piece is the right-of-way exchange is a like for like, so there will be no budget impacts for that, and similarly no budget impacts for the sign code update. So again, happy to answer any questions, and then staff is recommending that the council open a public hearing, and then after receiving comments, consider approving this development agreement with Minit Management.
It's been a while since you've had to say all these words, isn't it?
It is, yeah, I know.
You
Gotta
know what?
remember
You
what
flowed
to
through
say.
it pretty well, actually, Brian. You didn't skip a beat. Council, I do want you to be aware, this is just for the property. The sign has been on the budget since Councilor Cerveny, was it 2019 when we first put that on the budget? I think it was that long ago.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Well, you know,
Obviously COVID hit and everything stopped. Yeah.
Brian and I have been working on this since I think September of 23.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of back and forth and just some bureaucracy to overcome to get to this point right here. This is not the sign itself. This is just for the
I mean,
property.
government red tape.
Yeah, right. This is just for the property. The sign will come at another time, and that will come before you as well.
Got it. This
So-
is just a little piece of chunk that the sign will be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the swap out of the two smaller parcels for the roundabout and where they're going to put their shell sign. That's there.
Perfect. Yeah. Sounds
This says the property appraises for 14,000, but after reading all this, it sounds like to me it's just a swap out.
Well, there's two smaller pieces that we're swapping out,
Yeah.
right? And then the piece that we're purchasing is actually over here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you have any questions for Brian, I encourage him. Okay, if not, I'm going to go ahead at, what is it, 7:13. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Are there any public hearing comments from the audience?
Al Phillip, 36016 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. Yeah, this is a good deal. But what distresses me is this is the city negotiating, and we can't streamline it for ourselves. You know, if it's this hard for the city to get something done, what if it's some private developer trying to negotiate whatever? So, you know, gee whiz, I think I've said, is the center business friendly? You know, I don't know, but I'm going to keep asking that question because right now it seems like, wow, it's how long you guys, you know, I lost, you know, how long it was, but it's ridiculous. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, Al. I will address that a little bit, Al. It's not all the city side of the bureaucracy. It's also the private landowner as well, just so that you're aware. Yeah. Sorry. Any other public comments? Please step up to the mic. All right. For those calling in, please press *6 to unmute yourself. State your name and address for the record. Please stick to the ordinance.
Hi, yes. Hi, Kimberly Elbin here. So let me get to my phone here on this. The fact is there's been times where on the agenda, such as 1.8, which is ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings, that those very words have been there, but then underneath wouldn't be a public hearing or anything. It would just be a talking about code change or a presentation or something. So what I'm getting at is I had a phone call during the time of this presentation. So I'm going to jump in on that. But to me, I didn't think I had to really listen too much on this. I should have, but it should be more noticeable that it's a public hearing. You know, so I just thought, okay, it's an ordinance, and because they're all an ordinance, but that doesn't mean that ordinance is a public hearing. So I'd like to have this our format on the agenda to be more specific. That, and it has been in the past before, would say this particular one is a public hearing, the other ones were not, or whatever. So I'm just going to make that comment for this. So everything seems to be dovetailing, and my main concern with that is, and now we're talking about the roundabout up at the freeway, if I'm not mistaken. I'm okay with that roundabout, but I'm not the one on the Timmins Landing area. So one thing dovetails into another. It seems like once we give a little bit, that leads to another thing. And I didn't have enough time tonight to speak about the real estate transaction either. With that said, you know, I think one of the council members put it real good. You know, spend your money and then leave. Well, that was more powerful than you could believe, as far as I'm concerned. What it means is don't stay. And why do we want more development? So again, my thing is to stop growth, be sustainable where we are, go ahead and keep it up at the freeway. But my understanding is we have quite a few years of waiting time up there to even develop. So that's my understanding because of that agricultural overlay situation. So that's all I'll say on this, other than we need to be more specific as to which ones are actually a public hearing, maybe even put ordinances and then put on 1.9 or something, public hearings such as that. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Kimberly. We will address that and we'll make it larger for you on the agenda. I appreciate your comment on that. Stick around. There's 2 more to go.
Yeah.
Any other callers calling in, press *6 to unmute yourself. State your name and address for the record.
This is Dennis Hill. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dennis.
Dennis at 1316 West Alder Place. Just a question. Is there a reason why this presentation did not include a property layout showing the parcels that you've been talking about here, purchasing and their location at the junction?
Actually, I'll let Brian answer that. Brian?
Yeah, this is Brian. So that is actually a good question. With the next item, the right-of-way vacation, there is a map that shows the vacation and then the dedication, that sort of 350 square foot that we're swapping. There also, I think with the development agreement, was an exhibit that showed the piece of the 400 square feet that the city's purchasing for the sign, which is right at the basically the southwest corner of the parcel, right at the off-ramp and La Center Road corner. Yeah, it looks like it's up on the screen here too. So it's like a little square, 400 square foot square that the city's purchasing there, right at the corner of the off-ramp.
It's page 8. Is that what you said?
Thank you.
Dennis, that's on page 8. Page 8 and 10 in the packet there if you want to take a look. But it does show the property. Thank you for your question. Any other callers calling in, please press *6 to unmute yourself. State your name and address for the record. Clerk, are there any comments to be read?
There are no comments to be read.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
At 7:19, I'd like to close the public hearing and open it back up to the council. Council, you have any questions, concerns, comments, conversations amongst each other?
Not necessarily about this, but we haven't really talked about it tonight, what we did last week at this county council and how that's going to change up there, right? Didn't I read in that email that they're going to move forward with the study, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So Casey, Myrna, Tom and I went down to county council last week and we all spoke. And there was a lot of people there that were against the growth and that were pushing back for this ag study. The county council said that they, were going to do it. And then it came down to the last minute and then they said they weren't going to do it. Well, now they've came back and said they are going to move forward with the study, which is great. So we can move forward with our development eventually. I mean, obviously there's some, but.
So a sign's pretty important to have up there then.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Not some cows behind it. Yeah. So that's, I think that's a huge win to move all of that.
And I think
forward.
when we're talking about agriculture, you've got this picture of there's acres and acres of this flat land that somebody could go out and farm, and that's not the situation.
Right.
So.
No, but council, we are getting off topic of this
Okay.
ordinance. So
Okay.
if we can get
Yeah,
back to
sorry.
that, please. Thank
Well,
you.
Kimberly brought it up, so I just wanted
Right.
to touch base.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We can actually have that conversation on the unfinished business if you'd like as well.
Well, I do think that this has been very well presented, not only tonight, but in the last couple of meetings that we've had where Brian was attending virtually. So, there's nothing on here that's a surprise. And I do think that being able to get the property for this sign, and since we already have the budget for it, now is a very, very good time to do that because of what Councilmember Fox brought up. So are we ready for a motion?
I will entertain one unless there's more questions, comments. There we go.
I move to approve the development agreement with Minit Management LLC to acquire property to construct a city entrance sign, evaluate a revision of the city's sign code, and exchange approximately 350 square feet of right-of-way along the center road.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Kasberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Boyle,
Absent excuse, sorry.
Councilmember Leija,
Yes.
Councilmember Cerveny.
Yes.
All right. Ordinance passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, Brian, for your hard work on that. I appreciate everything because we actually started that one together. Long time coming. All right. So next up, we will go back to ordinance 1.81. That is the 2025-01 sign code. And Mr. Brian Kask will be presenting again.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So following on the heels of that now approved development agreement, one of the items that was contemplated in that was a revision to the city's sign regulations to allow the placement of both the city sign and the business complex sign there. So there is a section in our sign code for freeway business complex signs, and currently that section of code requires that freeway business complex signs are located more than 500 feet from the center line of La Center Road. However, this would prevent travelers on the off-ramp as well as travelers on the center road that are maybe getting off southbound and then coming into downtown from seeing that sign. So staff's proposal is to change that from 500 feet to 50 feet. I apologize, the language strike through in the ordinance didn't quite make it through, but basically section 8.60.082C currently says for freeway business complex signs that the purpose of these signs are to be visible from the freeway. So we're striking that language because the goal is to be able to see them from the center road and the off ramps. And then we're also revising that 500 square feet from the center line down to 50 square feet. So with that, happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
We can't have one like A1A. I mean, come on. We're trying to, they say they're, exit 16 Richfield. I think we need to
we also do limit the size of our signs. I think it's 250 square feet, I want to say off the top of my head.
Yeah, DOT would have a problem with that.
Oh, bummer.
All right. Thank you, Brian. At this point, council, do you guys have any questions, comments, or conversations you'd like to have with Mr. Cass? Okay. Seeing how there is none, at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. The time is 7:24 p.m. Is there any public comments? I'd like to step up. Al?
Al Phillip, 36016 Northwest Jennikirk Road. Bigger is better. Melissa was right.
Again.
Well, maybe for the second or two. No, but just, are we sure that it's going to be big enough that it's placed in the right place so everybody can see it? That's what I'm concerned about. Looking on that little map that Lance had there, it looks like it's going to be okay, but before we place it on there, are we sure it's going to be bigger and better and sitting in the right place at the right angle for everybody? Thank you. God bless you.
Yes. Thank you, Al. We'll address that in the comments here soon. Any other person that'd like to step up and make a comment, please do so at this time. All right. For those calling in, please press *6 to unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Kimberly, this is number 2.
Hi. Yep, Kimberly Gillian-Elvin. So I'm actually wondering the procedure for public hearing and buying the real estate transaction. You guys might have known about it, but we the people didn't. And just like these ordinances, I don't know where was this public hearing announced 2 weeks ago? Because I looked in the minutes and I didn't see anything. So here's the deal. People didn't know about all this. They didn't know about us spending over $600,000 for properties that we don't know where it is. We might have had something to say about that. I certainly would. Development. You have parks and stuff, but you're going to possibly put homes and stuff all around them. So I would have questioned that immensely. But I saw no warning to the people to show up here for this public hearing. And just like any of them, don't we need to let the people know so we can have a say-so in our business that you guys are taking part of, sometimes in secret. So there's kind of a mixed. I understand the reasoning that you gave, but on the other hand, when does that stop? What do we need to know that we don't know? And so there, my big deal is local grassroots government here in Clark County. That's what my duty is. And so I really actually think that these should have been better advertised, especially since you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and we don't know what for, where it's at. And ordinances that, give or take, whatever, it still really wasn't advertised, in my opinion. And that's what I'm going to leave that at. We certainly don't want severability to come into play. So this council needs to know the procedure to get people there, to do our business. So that's what I'm going to say, and hopefully it's just all going to turn out. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate it. Any other callers calling in, please press *6 to unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Okay. Any clerk, are there any public comments to be read?
There are no comments to be read.
All right. Thank you, clerk. Okay. At this time, 7:28, I would like to close the public hearing and turn this back over to council. Are there any questions, conversations? I was going to have a response for Al. I got to remember what it was.
Talk about location.
Oh,
Is it
yes.
visible?
Thank you.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is
Yeah.
better,
It was the
yeah.
location piece of it. We have been up there many times. I've stood at the top of the mound to make sure something could be seen. I've walked across the street in both paths, the one that goes around the roundabout and the one that would turn you into the center, and you will be able to see it. It'll be very visible. And the trees, there is 2 smaller trees that will have to be taken out of there and let the bushes go. This way, as they grow bigger, they won't grow in the way of the sign. And they are in control of the city. So yes, I too was concerned about that as well, Al. 100%. Any questions? If there's no questions, can I get a motion?
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 2025-01, amending La Center Municipal Code 8.60.080 of the La Center Municipal Code to allow a freeway business complex sign to be greater than 50 feet north or south of the center line of La Center Road.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Fox,
Yes.
Councilmember Kasberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Boyle,
Absent excuse.
Councilmember Leija,
Yes.
Councilmember Cerveny.
Yes.
Thank you, council. It's been moved and passed. Appreciate it. Thank you again, Brian. A lot of work on this. Thank you. Sorry, I just want to make that notation. All right. We're moving right through these ordinances, aren't we, tonight? You know what that tells me? Is that you guys have been well informed and educated on what's being presented to you. So I do appreciate that tonight, council.
And we read this at work.
Yeah. Some of this has been conversation in the council too, right?
Oh,
So
of
this has
course.
been-
Yeah. No.
it's been
I
good.
just mean, yeah.
All right. Next up, we have ordinance 2025-02, right-of-way vacation minute management. And Brian, your last presentation tonight.
All right.
Hopefully not for good.
Hopefully not for good. Well, and this one is going to continue on, but we'll get to that here. So this is sort of the last piece of the puzzle there with that development agreement that was just approved earlier this evening. And so this would be the vacation of that 350 square feet that the city will be removing from right away so that Minit Management can place their Shell station sign. And then again, they are dedicating a similar amount, sort of a triangle that adjoins it for the roundabout there. And in the development agreement, there is timing and process so that this vacation won't happen until, they both happen at the same time, essentially. So since we've done a few of these right-of-way vacations here recently, and council is aware of the RCW 3579 that governs the process, at the April 23rd meeting, council passed resolution 485 to start the vacation process for this piece of property here. However, and then set the public hearing at this council meeting tonight on the 14th. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a timing issue posting the required notice on the property. State law requires a 20-day notice, and I think it got posted a couple days late, so I think it's been out there about 15 days at this point. However, we did advertise this public hearing in the city's paper of record, and so due to this timing issue, staff's asking that we open the public hearing tonight, we receive any public comments that the public may have, and then that we hold this hearing open into the next council meeting on the 28th, and then at that time see if there's any additional public comments, and then conclude the public hearing and consider adoption of the right-of-way vacation ordinance. As far as budget impact, state law, as you know, does give the option for the city to request the fair market value of the property being vacated. However, in this case, because we're doing this property swap, staff's recommendation is to just not request a compensation for this property because we're getting an equivalent amount of property that actually will benefit the city right next to it. So with that, happy to answer any questions, and then staff is again recommending that council open the public hearing and then continue this hearing to the 28th, May 28th meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Council, any questions? Oh.
Well, I'm just confused about the open it up for public hearing and then do it again next meeting, or what?
Yeah, so the resolution was passed at the last meeting, and again, there's a 20-day notice. So to meet that 20-day notice, the plan was to post the signs out at their property the very next day on like Thursday, and that would have given us the 20 days. But it didn't quite work out that way, so it took, I think it was like the following Monday that it got posted, and so we didn't quite meet our 20-day required notice to have the signs out on the right-of-way that's being vacated. And so because of that, after consulting with the city attorney, she recommended that we still hold this public hearing tonight because we did advertise for it, but then we hold it open to the next council meeting, and that way we'll exceed that 20-day notice.
So it's just two opportunities for people.
Exactly.
Where it's not, that's rare. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've done it in the past. I got to remember the formalities of it myself. Janine, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. The formal term is called a continuance. So at this point, after this evening, we're going to continue the public hearing to the meeting on the 28th, and then the meeting the hearing stays open, and then we'll close the hearing at the next meeting, and then that will have the opportunity that's consistent with the state law's 20-day requirement.
Okay, so just for clarification and that I understand it as well, when I open this up to the public hearing at a certain time, I will not close the public hearing?
That is correct. At the conclusion of the testimony, you will continue the public hearing until, and you need to state the date. You will continue the public hearing until the meeting of the 28th. And then we will take action and actually adopt the ordinance at that meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Janine. I just needed clarifications. This is a always learning job. I can tell you that right now. Definitely do not know it all. Council, did you guys have any questions or comments before I open it? Conversations. Okay, perfect. So at this time, 7:35 p.m., I would like to open to the public comments. Are there any comments from the audience? Yeah, that's right.
Curtis R. Carlson, 35915 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. I don't know that I've got the flow of everything here, but I thought my ears perked up on establishing. This is where I'm really confused. It's probably more a question for Brian on flow and fair market value. But if the 14,000 was for 400 square foot, does that compute out to $35 a square foot? Is that correct?
I'm having the exhibit pulled up here. So there's sort of, with the development agreement, there was sort of two pieces. There's the city sign easement, that little square.
Right.
That's the one that the city's purchasing
Right.
for the 14,000 appraised value.
Yeah.
And then over there, there's these two triangles, and essentially the right of way sort of parallels the center road. And then as you approach the Paradise Park intersection, it kind of jogs in.
Yeah.
And then continues along. So essentially we're kind of straightening out that jog. So we're vacating the triangle sort of that's more westerly and then receiving the triangle that's more easterly and right at the intersection there.
Well, again, where I'm trying to go to is what are we figuring the fair market value of these?
I see. So
that's all.
So the sign easement area there was an appraisal done on a square foot basis for the vacated and dedicated right of way. Since they're basically right next to each other in the same, there is no, we're not going to ask them for any money. They're not going to ask us for any money. We're just swapping them essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the city sign easement, there was an appraisal done recently in that area, and basically the square footage price was used to determine that $14,000.
Okay, so is I didn't have my phone in here with my calculator. So if I take
so it would be
14,000 divided by 400 is $35 a square foot. Is that correct?
Something like that. Let's see, it's 400 or 14 divided by 400. Yeah, 35 a square foot.
Okay, that's all it. I'm just trying to get a lineal and some numbers. Don't ask me what I'll do with numbers. Thanks, you guys.
You'll be a tutor.
Thanks, Skip. Thank you, Skip. Any other comments from the audience?
Al Phillip, 36016 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. Okay, this is only about the land swap. So I can't tell you that on the 22nd of May, next Thursday, the American Legion is going to be putting flags on the cemetery, on the graves in the cemetery for veterans, and if anybody wants to join, come on in. I can't tell you about that. And then on the 24th, over at the Chevron station at 9 in the morning, that's Saturday, at 9 o'clock, we're going to start handing out poppies. And I cannot tell you about that either, because you can only deal with the subject on hand. So, well, I told you, yeah, thank you. God bless America.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I don't even know how to follow that one up. Oh, wait a minute. I do. Callers, if you'd like to have a public comment, please press *6 to unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Kimberly, you're going to follow up after Al.
Kimberly Goheen Elvin, way to go out big, Al. So, with that said, I guess I don't know the procedure. Maybe Brian can, and welcome, Brian. I hear your voice, and maybe he could answer a few questions as to the announcements of these public hearings. And was it this one that did not make it on the timely in time, or was it all three, or why did two go through and one didn't? I get the reason, but why not all together if this is kind of the same thing? And so if somebody can converse with me on my 3 minutes, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Brian will answer that question for you, Kimberly. 1 second.
Thank you. Maybe start with, announcements for public hearings. Were people aware of these public hearings? And where can I find it? That one, you mentioned a La Center paper or something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I can chime in there. So all of these public hearings and all public hearings for the city are advertised in the Columbian, which is the city's newspaper of record. The ordinances and the development agreement and this right-of-way vacation were all advertised in the Columbian. And then because right-of-way vacation has some additional posting requirements per state law, we also have to post the notice out on the site, as well as in 3 public and visible areas of the city. So I think we posted here at City Hall, at the library, and at the community center as well. And so the 20-day notice for those physical postings at the site and at those other locations did not make it quite in time for that 20-day notice, but the paper, the public hearing notice in the paper was published. So that's why we wanted to open this hearing tonight, hold the public in case anyone wanted to testify, and then we will, again, continue this hearing to the next meeting as well.
Okay. Is that going to be the hearing on the other things too, or just this one?
Only on the right-of-way vacation.
Oh, okay. And, well, I appreciate your answers. So let me let my mind work a little bit. It's been a tough week. Yeah, I can't come up with it, and I'm so sorry. But let me, if I still have a little time, I'm going to sit here and think for a minute because
Kimberly,
I know what it was. No,
we're going to leave
I
this open.
Yeah, let me, and I understand. So let me do it. This just came to me. So the La Center has the Columbian. I'd sure like to know how many people here in La Center take the Columbian, for one thing. For another thing, why not the Reflector? It seems like more to help the local homeboy, local business. So we might want to bring that up. Maybe the council could speak about that, having the Reflector as our notice, because frankly, I don't read the Columbian. And I think that's a poor way of putting out public announcements when we have a reader board. Again, it's one of those things, how do we know if we don't go up to the city hall and read it? So I did all those that you did do, but I think there's more that can be done. Thank you, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you. Clerk, are there any public comments to be read?
There are no comments to be read.
I know that was a little out of formality, so. Okay, the public hearing will remain open until the next council meeting, Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. I would like to turn it back over to council for any comments or questions or concerns, conversations. Council.
Well, I was understood what Brian said, that it's not only in the Columbian, but it's posted at the library.
Mhm.
So anytime. On the web.
That would be
website.
for just right-of-way vacations have some additional posting requirements beyond the paper of record. And the paper of record does come up, I think, annually for approval by the council. So when that comes up next time, you can consider what you want the paper of record to be.
So anytime any citizens wanted to know anything, they could go on the website and the library. So
Yeah,
I
the
agree, not
newspapers.
everybody reads the Columbian, but there is the website and there is the La Center Library. So I would encourage
And again, the
that.
library would only be we post there for right-of-way vacations, because there's the state law requires the site and then 3 other public locations throughout the city. But in general, for all ordinances, development agreements, anything else that requires a public hearing, it goes into the paper of record.
And I think the change was done, Councilmember Cerveny may remember, I think we did the change in 2021, because we used to do it in the Reflector. Mayor Thornton moved it to the Columbian, and if I remember right, it was something about circulation. It may be costs behind it. It's been been a while. So we can entertain a change in advertisement if the council so wishes. Just please let us know that.
I mean, I read the Reflector and the Columbian, and there's a lot of things that are still posted in the paper, even though it's kind of a somewhat, old school way. It is still a legal way of posting things. But I mean, it's not just us, is what I'm saying. Everyone uses it. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm open to discussions.
Any other comments or questions for Brian? Okay. Thank you, Brian. It was a great report as normal. I appreciate you flying all the way in here.
Yeah, how was the traffic
It was
on the way?
It was great.
A little bumpy, but not bad.
It's always great seeing you. Definitely.
Yes, so good to see you. Do we get to see you more this summer? Or?
Yeah, I'll probably be around.
Are you moving back?
Not moving back, but it will be visiting.
Oh, okay.
Would you leave the sun and the ocean?
Yeah. No.
Wow. All right. Moving on here, since we'll come back to this one. Council, is there any unfinished business? All right. Council, is there any new business? Okay, at this point, let's see, we will go into executive session. This is a real estate matter, and there will be no action taken when we return. This should take us 15 minutes. So the time is 7:47 PM. Thank you. Peter? So sorry. I'm telling you, I'm a mess today. I thought Phil was getting ready to rest, like out.
That would be a fun afternoon, evening.
Okay, we've returned from executive session. Time is 8:01. There was no action taken. So at this point, I will entertain a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved, second and third. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a great evening. Nobody can